short reflection for the Feast of Pentecost, Whitsunday. St. John chapter 16, verse 13. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all the truth. For he will not speak on his own, but will speak whatever he hears, and he will declare to you the things that are to come. The instruction for readings for church services for today, Whitsunday, is that the reading from the Acts of the Apostles should not be omitted. And I've no intention of omitting it. Acts chapter 2 tells us in a broad and a colourful sweep of bright paint on a big canvas about the coming of the Holy Spirit to Jerusalem and to the disciples. Fire lies at the heart of this image. Fire lies at the heart of the inspiration and the invigoration of all God's people. Fire purges as well as giving warmth. Fire kills as well as giving life. Old and New Testaments are brought together in Acts chapter 2 by the quotation of the prophecy of Joel. This prophecy predicts God pouring out God's Spirit on all flesh. The list of those included is impressive in today's world. Just think how impressive it would have been in St. Luke's day. Both sons and daughters, both young men and old men, and slaves, both men and women. People of no standing, people with no voice, that is, slaves and women. All of these people are given a voice of prophecy. And this happened in full view of Jewish people who'd gathered from around the known world. They too have an experience never to be forgotten. In our own languages, it says, we hear them speaking about God's deeds of power. Now, there is no diminishing, there is no lessening the power and the impact of Acts chapter 2. It is this sudden acceleration of experience and of discipleship, of geography and of globalization that makes it possible for us to be where we are today and to have the faith and to share the faith we do. It's all because of Acts chapter 2. And so Acts chapter 2 is unforgettable, and rightly so. It is the glory of shared faith, of shared authority, and of shared information. It is something good. And that's why the church needs it year on year, for it to become something day by day. Now, if we go to St. John chapter 15 and 16, once more we have a strong sense of continuity. The Advocate, the Father, and the Son are all part of sending. As the Spirit of truth, the Advocate testifies, bears true witness. The disciples are instructed to allow themselves to be swept up into this way of living, in this same sort of activity. Just listen. You also are to testify, because you have been with me from the beginning. Now that phrase, those three words, from the beginning, in the context of St. John's Gospel, cannot but connect us with the very start of St. John's Gospel, in the beginning. The disciples, therefore, that is us, the disciples are sown into the purpose of God from the very start. This way of looking at things is important for us today, as we understand ourselves as disciples, as followers and as agents of the work of creation and recreation in the world around us. The world in which we live today could hardly look more unlike the day of Pentecost, as we in our time continue to stare down the tunnel of the coronavirus. We do not really gather. We speak often only to ask someone else, to encourage them to move out of our way, lest we or they carry contagion. We dare not travel, and if we do, we will be quarantined. Prophecies seem to have died on the vine, or at best to carry numbers of doom. Sons, daughters, young men, old men, do not and dare not meet. Cross-generational conversations don't seem to be able to happen. Everybody is working somewhere and seemingly all the time in a spare bedroom or in a converted garage. And yet, most of the time, the sun is shining somehow. Where then is the voice of hope for us today? Hope is in the things unseen. As we heard when we began our exploration in this series, taking our guidance from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. By this phrase, hope is in the things unseen, is meant as much as anything. That hope is in the things we never needed, or never bothered to see or to spot before. They were not in our field of vision. Early in the time of lockdown, it was Pope Francis who singled out the bin collectors and added them to the list of frontline workers who have kept our societies afloat. Blessed are the bin collectors, for they take away our waste. There are many more people like this on whom our material and our spiritual lives depend and will continue to depend, and we've learned to appreciate them and to congratulate them on their ongoing tireless work. Each of us has a range of frontline workers to whom we are indebted and to whom we will remain eternally grateful. This is the hope that is right before us. These are the people through whom the God of creation and of recreation does the work of hoping and hoping again, of caring and healing, of inspiring and teaching, of accompanying and shepherding. Most of them, indeed almost all of them, are not clergy of any faith or of any denomination. This is a world that is not evil in the sense in which St. John depicts it for one part of his theological purpose. This is a world which is indeed material. But these materials are the materials out of which our whole life is woven again and again and again for the community and for the community of God. Maybe we should just think again about what we do see, what we can see, and what we might see, what is in front of us. If we start stepping aside from ourselves, and if we stop forefronting ourselves to ourselves, as if we are the only show in town that matters, we could indeed be very positively surprised about what lies in front of us, what we have not seen, and what gives us hope. And so, absolutely finally, my conclusion is this. I think that we need both the words from Acts and the words from St. John. Acts chapter 2, verse 21 tells us this. Then everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. And St. John 16, verse 15 tells us this. All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you.